We are sitting obviously with Audrey Chirenje in the studio this morning, and we are going to be going through an interesting read from Mayibongwe Justice Dube, who wrote the book entitled How I Got Robbed, My Love for Suits. Good morning, Audrey.
Good morning, Marisa. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Good to have you today.
Likewise, always a pleasure being here.
Absolutely. Now, I'm just opening the page here. It says, life has got its ups and downs, but if the downside ended up ripping off your hope and confidence, this book is dedicated to you. And I do know that most of us have gone through ups and downs in life. We've gone through challenges. Am I ever going to get out of this situation? So, I mean, reading just the title, How I Got Robbed, My Love for Suits, I asked you instantly, I was like, oh, is this about suits and how to dress? And you're like, far from it. So please tell us what this book is about.
But of course, I was reminded, we used to watch the series Suits, and those people be wearing nice pinstripe suits.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mayibongwe is a young man, and I like that he released this book, and I hope so many students can actually, just not students, anyone can get a copy of this book, because he shares how he was at university. He thought his life was going to be linear, graduate with a degree in business and ICT, and then get a job, and he'll be wearing his suit to work,
the office, yeah.
And then he's also a PK, a pastor's kid. So obviously at church, people wear suits. So to him, I think suits always represented that epitome of success,
Yeah.
But then guess what? He shares how he actually failed 2 subjects, and then he had to watch his peers graduate while he didn't. And he couldn't even share to his own family to say, I failed, I'm not going to graduate with the others.
Oh, really? So what did he do about that? Like, coming home and they're asking, what happened there?
He says the one time he had to actually get up the courage and share it with his dad. And we thank God that the father is a pastor. He actually understood.
And counseled him through the
Yes, but he
situation.
mentions other uncles saying those statements which were not encouraging at all. But he just, raised himself up, started doing a chicken farming project, from this wannabe business person, now rearing chickens. First project was a success, but the second one, he talks about how they started dying.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 at a time, and he was devastated.
I mean, that is traumatizing, Audrey. I mean, I've gone through that situation where you're like, okay, I'm going on my 3rd run, 4th run, and all of a sudden, 7 at a time. For me, it was 7 or 10. At the end of the day, it's about doing your due diligence, but never giving up, which I think is one of his learning lessons in this book, that don't give up.
Yes.
On your journey.
Don't give up. And I'm glad you're sharing that. And I hope so many people are now doing chicken farming. And I'm glad they can hear that. You can't stop because of those. You have to try again and again. And he grew up in Mashingo. So at some point, life was just so hard. He was ashamed to even talk to his former peers, the WhatsApp groups, people posting their pictures with their gowns. He said he actually took all his savings and he came to Harare.
Oh, wow.
For a fresh start.
So he thought that Harare is going to help him. That's bold of him.
Very bold and filled with a lot of faith.
Right.
Yeah. But he talks about then when we got here, it wasn't as what it looked like. And he shares about how for like 4 years, he was going through the motions, looking like the part of a well-established entrepreneur, but he wasn't. And he says every dollar he was struggling, but he did not stop. I've also known this guy. I've seen him, like across the social media and stuff. Always very active. He posts his TikTok, business advice. And for him to actually share this, I never knew that I was going through this. So
Yeah.
I never knew.
So that means he would show out there, he'd be all smiles and all life is great, but inside, you could be crumbling. I think this is a picture of most of us.
Yes, and I really like this book. Like I was saying, people should read this book, because I know more often we put on this facade, but inside you're dying. So on the lessons, he talks about confidence, loss of confidence, because he lost all the confidence because of what he was going through, identity and appearance, resilience and healing, and then the society expectations. I think this one, we need to talk about it a bit, Marisa. I think more people are succumbing to this because society expects you to be
This kind of person.
and then you end up doing that. What's your take on that? And just give us advice to someone listening out there.
Yeah, you know what I feel like, Audrey? I feel like, yes, life does give you a tumble here and there. And when it does give you a tumble, own it, and accept it. It is what is happening. You know, there's a prayer that says, give me the courage to accept the things that I cannot change. So sometimes we do go through so much pain. I could be sitting here right now with a devastated heart, heartbroken beyond measure. But at the end of the day, if I don't start caring for myself as an individual enough to speak out and say, hey, I need help, then at the end of the day, I'm digging my own grave, and I'm going to jump into it alive. So at the end of the day, it's all the pain that you go through unnecessarily. So I feel like, you know, society, yeah, people are there to watch us. People are there to criticize us. That gives us strength to move on. People are there to actually give us a little bit of a competition, a little bit of a nudge there, and a little bit of a help here and there. But at the end of the day, it's up to you, it's your honest, to help yourself move out, because it's you who is first. If you don't make it, then nobody's making it for you.
Wow.
Nobody's making it
Yeah,
for
I think you deserve your own, I don't know, talk show right there because of what you just said. Because I think owning it, anything, you know, about it can be, like for me, I used to struggle with people saying, oh, you know what I say these days?
Yeah, don't change.
So when you own whatever, if it's the negatives, just own it.
Just
and then
own
people
it,
can't
yeah.
even then tease you about it.
Yeah.
Because you say, yes, I like, so what?
Yeah, and even, you know, like I remember in high school, I was a prefect, and I did something that obviously was deserved manual labor. So at the end of the day, I had to own that. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to do this because I did make a mistake. It was my error, and I did, and I went through my manual labor, and everyone was like, oh, she's a prefect, she doesn't even deserve it. But the next week I had my blazer on, and I put them all on manual for making fun of me while I did it. But at the end of the day, it's about owning the situation and the spaces you're in. If you need help, yeah, go and ask for it. If you want to cry in the middle of the supermarket, cry.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Just
Yes.
own the whole situation
Own
and
it.
get through it.
Own
Get through
the
it. Because
pain.
I do know that one of the lessons that Mayibongwe talks about is, he says, healing takes time. You see, so at the end of the day, you don't wake up and expect to be normal. You know, it's one day as it comes. So I love that one thing that he does, that does talk about healing takes time, and being vulnerable is strength.
Yes, and also healing, knowing that, you know, Grace's journey is not going to be the same as mine.
Absolutely.
We're different. So you also need to accept that. I like that prayer where you quoted to say, wisdom to accept
the
difference. And then I like his quote from the book, which says, society paints you a picture of perfection, but the real story is different. And I think we've just discussed about that.
Yeah.
So do not succumb to these pressures. Just own your story, own your pain, own your journey, and charter your own course.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So where do we find this book? It's a very interesting reminder. Where do we find it?
So for now, he's delivering the book by himself. You can find him on social media, Mayibongwe Justice Dube, Facebook, IG, LinkedIn, TikTok. And by the way, he finally wrote those subjects he had failed, and he graduated. And now he's got a very massive, impressive resume, own publishing company. He's done 5 books.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's part of so many startup companies. He's doing business nuggets on video on TikTok, and the price of the book is $10.
$10 Chete, a book by Mayibongwe Justice Dube. How I Got Robbed, My Love for Suits. A very strong reminder of, like, even I like what you're saying, that he went back and he rewrote the subjects he failed. And as I did say earlier, we do go through these things to challenge us a little bit, to push us, and he's achieved so much, bringing out his potential. There is purpose in pain.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And who knows, we might actually see him now. Oh, he says he then borrowed a suit for his first interview and is now going to be rocking suits again.
So his dream does come true.
Yes.
But fantastic, Audrey. Thank you so much for bringing this insightful book. It is quite interesting to know that, you know, sometimes we do get reminded that life does, you know, hit us a blow or two. But at the end of the day, stand up and own yourself. Be you.
Thank you, Marisa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us, Audrey. We'll see you again next week.